And I am coming to you today. What we're going to do is I'm going to show you the basic setup that you need if you would like to go fishing and you really don't know what you're doing. I'm going to show you the pole you need. I'm going to show you what kind of hooks that you need, where you can purchase them at, the weight you need, and how to tie all that together, the cork, the bobber you need. I'm going to show you every bit of that so that you know exactly what you're doing when you get out there and you're ready to catch some fish too. You know, I put out a lot of fishing videos, but one thing that I just kind of take for granted because I've been doing this my whole life is that everybody knows the same thing I know about fishing, and that's not necessarily the case. There may be, you know, some of you guys out there that have never fished and you're kind of wanting to get into it and you don't know how to get into it, you don't know where to start. So today I thought that I would come to you and I would kind of show you the setup. I think is a really basic setup. This is how I cut my teeth on fishing, and this is where I took my kids to do the same thing. This is a lot of fun. It's not really that expensive, and man, it's some great time spending outdoors. Not just catching fish. Yeah, that's a blast. But I mean, hanging out with each other outside and getting away from cell phones and getting away from everything around the house, you know, just to kind of have some time outside with your loved ones. And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of the fishing I do, I go by myself. It's quiet and I enjoy it. So one of the things I wanted to start with today is just to kind of show you a basic setup. I do a lot of brim fishing, and that's what I want to talk about today because, man, brim fishing is fun, and there's lots of brim. Guys, brim spawn, and when I say spawn, I mean they're reproducing in the water. May, the first full moon in May is when they really spawn that big first time. And when you hear people talk about beds, brim will gather up and they'll make little moon-shaped places in the bottom, sandy bottoms, and sometimes kind of a rocky bottom. And that's where they're putting their eggs. That's where they're laying their eggs at. And so when they do that, they're real protective of those areas. And so during May, during that time, that first full moon, guys, you can get out there maybe a couple days before that full moon all the way to a day after, and I mean literally catch hundreds of these things, and it is a blast. So what is the setup? What do you need to be ready to do this? All right, so today I wanted to show you kind of my setup. You do not have to have a pole like this. Now I have bought this AC crappie stick. I believe this is a 7-foot one. The rod itself was about $100, and I bought this reel. The reel is probably $30, $40, and it is a micro light reel that I got from the Bass Pro Shop. That is probably my go-to reel. I enjoy using it the most. I just like the way it feels in my hand when I'm fishing with it. But some of the funner reels, I have some other reels that I use. I've got one that was $20 from Walmart. Now it is flimsy, and boy, when they pull on that thing, and I'm gonna tell you, no bigger than a brim is the size of your hand, they are some fighting little dudes. They are mad at the world, and man, you drop that old bait in there to them and they hit it and they'll bend that pole over, and it is so fun to get out there and catch them. But I kind of wanted to show you the setup. So what I'm using here on this rod right here, it's 7 foot, is I am using a 6-pound test line. And you say, well, why would you use 6-pound test? Well, that's a good question. Guys, a brim is not a big fish, and I've always found it. I'm not saying that the way other people do it is wrong. I'm just saying for me, I like using the absolute lightest tackle that I can use. And when I say that, I mean I like using the lightest line I can use. You can use line even smaller than 6 pounds, but 6 pounds seems to be an overall, what in the world is that? 6 pounds seems to be an overall good size line that I like to use. Some people like using 4, some people go up to 10. But I just think that 6 pounds is light enough. The fish can't really see it, and I just have the best luck with that. So, and I like using clear line as well. So with that being said, I use 6-pound test line, and I've shown you that right here. And you don't have to use this particular kind, just 6 pound. And I do a lot of cricket fishing, so I want to show you the kind of hooks that I get. These cricket Aberdeen long shanked hooks. You can see right here that I used the number 8 size, and these are built for crickets. That's what they're used for. They make all different kinds of hooks that you can use out there, and the baits that I would generally fish for when I'm fishing for brim is I use crickets, worms, and sometimes I also use a jig. Jigs have their places when the fish are really biting fast and hard, and it really doesn't matter what you throw in front of them. Jig's the best thing to go with. But I like using crickets, so that's what we're going to set up with today. And so I don't know how well the cameras show it, but I'm going to tie this bait, this hook, this number 8 size cricket hook onto this 6-pound test line, okay? And once I get this line, the knot tied in it, and I get ready to pull the knot down to the line, I always use kind of my saliva to lubricate it so that line does not get hot when I slide the knot all the way down to the hook. Once I get it pulled all the way down to the hook, as you can see, there's excess line, and I use my pair of scissors and cut that. I don't know, sometimes I'll leave about an 1/8 inch on the hook right there. I'm not sure you can see that, how close I am to you. So that's my hook. Now let's get to some weights. Again, these are number 3 size shot weights. They're little round weights. I got these are Ozark Trail. They're called split shots. And I get these from Walmart. They're cheap. You can get a bunch of them. And again, I'm going to use 2 of these. And the reason I'm using 2 is because I already know the size bobber or cork, whatever you float, that I'm going to use, my indicator. And I know that it's probably going to take 2 of these. One thing that you're always going to need when you fish is a good set of needle nose pliers. You'll need them to put weights on. Another time when hooks get down deep in those fish's mouth and you just can't get them out, these needle nose pliers come in handy. Man, you can reach in there while you're holding fish and get that out. So you'll need a set of them if you're going to do very much fishing. I promise you, you need to put them in your tackle box. Alright, let me get these put on here. They're simple to put on. Put the line in them and pinch them. And tighten them up. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 on here, and then I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so I've got my 2 weights put on now, and you can see that I've pinched them on the line right there. And I have them about 6 inches maybe from my hook. Can you see that? I'm holding the hook down here, and here are the 2 weights, and that's how I like to set this up when I fish. Now let's go on to the you can buy, whether you call these corks or whether you call them bobbers or whatever you want to, floats or float indicators. Again, when I fish, I like using the absolute smallest one I can use. Now listen, this is a small float, and if you put too much weight on there, when you throw out there, the weight will just pull it down. What I try to do is try to balance this so that it's floating probably about halfway out of the water. And the reason why is because if a fish comes up and he hits at that bait cricket, that immediately on top of the water I can see the cork move, bobble. It doesn't take a lot of pressure. When that fish reaches and grabs it and pulls, he can't tell that he's trying to pull a cork under the water with him, something that floats. Now, I have seen people with corks this big around. Now listen, it'd take me and you both to jerk that sucker under, and a brim isn't much bigger than the size of your hand. So think about it. What I'm trying to do is put just enough cork on there that when he hits it and he starts down and I see it go, that I can kind of pull up on the line enough to make the hook run up into his lip and stick so that I can get him out of the water. So for the way I like setting up, I like using, again, the smallest tackle that I can possibly use. I already know that those 2 size weights and a bobber about this size is going to be absolutely perfect. And guys, you get you a cork like this, you'll be able to see it's not that hard to figure out how this goes on here. And so we have our bobber, we have our weight, and we have our hook. Now I'm going to tell you that most of the time in May when I'm catching fish, I'm probably not fishing too much deeper than 2 foot deep. I mean, but the places I'm fishing are fairly shallow water. Now, this year I do want to tell you, I had a chance to go fish deep water. We were catching fish 18 foot deep, and the fish that way is a little bit different. But basically, if you want to go fish brim, you can catch lots of them. Another thing that you may need, cricket cage. So the way these things are built, of course on this one this whole bottom will come off, but the way these things are built, they have this slide right here. And so when you buy crickets either by the tube or by the half tube, and it's a tube this big around. I think a tube of crickets has about 70 crickets in it. They'll scoop them up and they'll just pour them right over into this bucket right here. And those crickets can crawl all around the side, but they can't get out because of this thing. So when you want one, you just reach down in there and grab him, and you put him on the hook, and you fish with him and leave that sitting beside you. Another little tip is if I buy my crickets the day before, because I know that I'm going to get up early and go, man, I'll cut a potato into about 4 pieces, a small one, and I'll drop the potato down in there, and those crickets will get on that potato to pull the liquid out of it. And seems like that helps keep them alive. I try to not put them in direct sunlight. I try to keep them in a cool spot at night. So you'll need one of these. Cricket cage, you'll need you some small split shots like this. You'll need I already put my hooks back up. You'll need you some hooks. If you're going to use crickets, to me the crickets are the best to use. They are absolutely the funnest, to me, the funnest to fish with. Your pole needs to have about 6 pound test on it. And I'm going to tell you, you can buy a combination. And when I say combination, when you go to like Walmart, you can buy a combination rod that already has a reel on it. And guys, I'm telling you, you can get one for $20, $25, and it'll already have line on it. And I think that you could probably, thing you need for $30, $35, you would probably be good to go. This right here, I think costs $4 or $5, and a tube of cricket right now is about $6, $7, I think. According to where you get it, you may get it cheaper than that. And man, that gets you set up to go brim fishing. And I'm going to tell you, get out there and learn. Take a kid with you and y'all have a good time. Take a camera. Take lots of pictures when you go and have a blast. Listen, sometimes I just go to catch them and to turn them back loose. I don't always keep everything when I go. Now, we eat a lot of fish. Fish is good for you. And so we do. We keep a lot of fish when we go. So, man, I hope this helps you. I hope that if you're not a fisherman and you don't know how to set this up, I hope this video helps you understand how to set it up. Listen, also, if you have any questions, man, just go down in the comments below, make a comment, let me know that you have a question, or there's another video, or there's another something that I can help you with to get you on your way to fishing and having a good time. Guys, I want you to be prepared fishing. More than that, I want you to be prepared to meet the Heavenly Father. So, all right, well, I appreciate you guys watching. Man, if you like this content, if this is helpful to you, I'm asking you, would you please subscribe to the channel, like the video, let me know what you think. And man, it was good seeing y'all, and good luck to you when you get out on the water.